Tier list, S tier. These are top picks, top bans. If you don't ban this hero, you should pick this hero, right? Also, side note, this is for like ranked. This isn't really for like PCC. This isn't for like tournament gameplay. This is like in ranked. What should you guys be playing? Just to be clear. Okay. So, S tier, yeah, must pick, must ban. If it's not banned, you should pick it. A+, I like to split my A tier to A+ and A. A, I have as average. These are just, they're heroes. They're not necessarily particularly strong. They're not necessarily particularly weak. They're just heroes in the game. A+ heroes are above average. They're like stronger. Either they might have less bad matchups. They might have more good matchups. You know, that kind of thing. They're above average. B, these are going to be situational or weaker heroes. Below average, they might be good. They might be, you know, an average or above average hero in a certain situation, but they won't always be that way. C tier, these are like bad heroes. Or I will also put into this category heroes that if you're not a one trick, you shouldn't play. Right, like, even if, yeah, they might not be the worst heroes, but if you're a one-trick, don't play them. Or if you're not a one-trick, don't play them. And then D are just terrible heroes, don't play them. And I just go alphabetical. Crack my Sprite real quick. Oh, yeah. Before we get into it, I'd like to thank Sprite for being a nice drink. They didn't sponsor this shit because I'm not that big. But it's a nice drink. Starting with Countess. I think Countess isn't bad right now. I'll put her in maybe B tier. Maybe she might move down. I might adjust this a little more as we go. I'll move some heroes up and down a little bit. I think she's fine. She does the same thing she always does. I would not play her off lane. You can play her in a couple matchups in the mid lane, but I think she's harder to play there. In the jungle, she's fine. Late game, you're an assassin. She's pretty strong. She's good at that. She's not the best assassin in the game right now. If you need magic damage, she's fine. Again, I don't know, man. I feel like she's hard to work into some team comps. Like, tank supports aren't very good right now. So if you're playing Countess jungle, you're playing a one tank team and make team fights, especially, again, in ranked. A lot of the easiest way to fight in ranked in an uncoordinated setting is front to back. You hit the enemy tanks. Whichever tanks die first, that team loses. That is the most easy way to play. If you're playing Countess without a tank support, you have one front line, it's hard to play front to back. You have to be good. You have to be getting kills on their back line. If you aren't, your team will lose, right? So she's a little bit awkward to play, but I think the character herself is not bad. Crunch. I think this character is really easy to play against. I almost want to put him in B. But I don't know, man. Like, truly, he's probably an average hero. He might move down a little bit. He's just so easy to play against. Lane bully. If you're an offlaner and you're trying to carry games, probably not a bad hero to pick, because he does bully a lot of lane matchups. Like Sevarog, right? Tanks, he bullies hard. Greystone, a lot of bruisers he just wins against. If you get big in lane, you can walk around the map and just one combo everybody on the enemy team. You can spread your lead very easily. He's very quick on rotations. Can do that. I think that if you get to the late game and even if you're a little bit ahead going into the late game when you're 5v5ing, if the enemy team has any crowd control, you just lose. Like, this character becomes borderline unplayable late game. So I don't know. I think that he's easy to play against. I don't think the hero is really that bad. That's just how he plays, right? He's a lane bully that doesn't play team fights very well. DEKKER, maybe the best support in the game again. Just a crazy fucking character, man. Long range stun. It doesn't matter if you miss 10 of them in a row. You hit one on somebody. For those of you that don't know, DEKKER's stun, the duration of the stun is longer for the more that the stun travels. So the farther away you hit somebody, the longer they're stunned for. If you downtown one person in a team fight, bro, they're stunned for like a second and a half and they just don't get to fucking play. And it's just ridiculous. It doesn't matter how much you miss. You hit that and you're good. And then you have a Cage. Cage is a really good ability. You can go Rift Walkers. You can go any fucking crest on this hero and it's good. Yeah, I don't know. Just a strong hero. I don't know if Drongo's S tier anymore. This is one that I've been debating because I do think that you can do the same thing on Drongo. He got some slight nerfs coming into the patch. You can do the same thing on Drongo, which is buy Vanquisher and try and be a kill farmer to get just big, right? You just become a kill merchant. You get a bunch of last hits and make you big. Last patch, he was definitely S tier. I'm not sure if he's S tier right now. But I do think he's still very strong. You can still do the same thing. Again, in ranked, that kind of play style is just better. It's just better. If you're confident that you will win the game, getting Vanquisher on Drongo and making sure that you get every kill can be really valuable. Feng Mao. I think Feng Mao's S tier right now. Maybe I like argued for A tier or for A plus maybe, and he could move down depending on who else ends up in S tier. I think this character is broken. Holy shit, this character is broken. His skin is kind of the undertow skin's a little bit pay to win. It's the sound effects are really quiet. But outside of that, it's just like Mind Razor got buffed, and now the character is really, really, really good. Because your farm is impeccable. If you're under 10 CS as Feng Mao, I don't know. Like, maybe you're just perma-fighting, but, like, you should... Like, his farm's crazy. His ganks are crazy. Envy, they need to remove Envy from the game, probably. That item is broken. Right? Like, it's just... This character's nuts. Gadget. I think she's still okay. I might put her in B tier. They nerfed her quite a bit. I also think the meta's changing a little bit. There's a lot more fighting and grouping, like, earlier in the game. And this character isn't... She's very good at 5v5ing when she has items online. She's not as good at those fights before she has items. Like, if you're fighting in the mid lane at like a 3v3 or a 4v4, you know, at the 10 or 12 minute mark when Gadget has one item online, she doesn't really do anything. Like, you can just tank her entire ultimate and it doesn't do a whole lot to you. So she's a little bit weaker in that sense. Late game, still a really strong hero. I'll put her in B tier for right now. She's really good against a couple of bruisers in the game, and it makes you unkillable. Like, the enemy can just never dive you, and that can actually be really valuable. So I'll put her in B tier. Gideon, solid hero. I don't think he's broken right now. I think he's okay. Has been nerfed a lot. Still really safe. Still good 1v1 potential in the mid lane. Still has a really good escape. Higher levels, you can start, you know, portaling your team into fights once you learn how to use time flex band on this hero. I think that your playability goes way up. Solid hero. Greystone, pretty shit. I think this character sucks. Like, almost tempted to go into, like, bad. I'll put him in... I might move him down. This character doesn't do anything. Like, I'm sorry. I think if you're going to play Greystone right now, I would go borderline full damage. I just don't think there's a reason to play him otherwise. He doesn't... He is tanky. Your ult gets fucked by anti-heal. I will move him down to C. He could even maybe go down to D tier. Like, borderline one of the worst heroes in the game. His ult just gets absolutely obliterated by anti-heal. And with how much CC, you'll see the characters that are in the top tier, right? Like, if you're playing Greystone against, like, Drongo DEKKER, like, you're never getting your ultimate off anyway. Right, like, you're just dying, and it can be just really useless. If you're gonna play him, I would build, like, probably at least 3 damage items so that you can at least kill somebody, right? If you get on the carry, you kill them. I just think this character is pretty dog at the moment. Grux. I think Grux is fine. Similar to Crunch, Bully's lane has a lot of really good lane matchups that he kind of just wins. Really good at taking, like, 1v2s against the enemy offlane and jungle. I don't think he's as good in the jungle anymore. I don't know. He just doesn't feel as good in the jungle. I don't really know if they actually nerfed him in the jungle. I know they nerfed, like, his lifesteal and shit. Still, like, a solid hero. Wins a lot of 1v2s. Can be really annoying. If you get ahead, you're really big. Like, you're hard to take down. But at the end of the day, again, late game team fights, character gets hard to play, similar to Crunch. I wouldn't trust the average player on Grux at like 30 minutes. I think that just gets really difficult. But in lane, good hero. I'd say he's average. If Crunch is in A tier, Grux is in A tier. These are basically the same hero to me. Who wins Grux versus Crunch? It depends. It's like a skill matchup. Grux wins pre-6. Crunch can win post-6 if he's good. I would say it's maybe like 60-40 Grux. Pretty even. Howie. I would say an above average mid laner right now. One of the better mid lanes, in my opinion. I think this character is just really good. He's really safe. Has really good poke. Has good kill setup with his mine. really good gank potential, like on his rotations, really good gank potential for people coming to his lane. He sets up kills on enemy mid laners really easily, has favorable matchups against a lot of the good mid laners right now. Just a solid hero. Kalari. This is a hard one because I actually don't think this character's that bad. But like I think meta wise, I think she's hard to play right now. I'll put her into the one trick tier. This will be like the one trick tier. Hey, how about I make this just a full-on one trick tier, and then I just put Greystone in bad tier. I think if you're really good at Kalari, I think that you can play her. I think that right now, the way, like the good heroes, you guys will see there's a lot of tanks that are actually really good, and Kalari doesn't do as well into them. You can play it because you can play like a rat and just try to kill the squishies, but I think she's just a worse version of Feng Mao. Like, I would probably put her in the A tier if she wasn't in the one trick tier. I think you should just play Feng Mao if you wanted to play an assassin. Chimera, okay. Maybe a B tier. One of the better early game heroes, but one of the worst late game heroes. This character, after about the 25-minute mark, once you're seeing groups as 5v5s, the only thing you do in a fight is jump ult. You try to jump onto the enemy mid lane or the enemy carry, sometimes the support if it's a free kill, but then you just ult, and that's all you can do. And I think it's really hard to close games out as Chimera. Like, unless your team is unless you're playing team deathmatch and you're winning, then I think it's hard to close games as Chimera. Early game, like before the 15-minute mark, really good hero. Kira, solid carry. I don't think she's bad. Has mobility, dog shit ultimate, but her like boxing potential in lane is really good. So I don't know. I don't think she's terrible. I'd say she's average. Belica. This is a hero that most people probably think is dog shit, but I actually don't think so. I think I'd rather have a Belica on my team than a Gadget. I think she's average. I think she has some good matchups and some really, really bad matchups in the mid lane. As a support, I think she's also okay. I don't think she's broken. I don't think she's a dog shit as support in the mid lane. I think she's fine. Morigesh. Not super good. Probably same tier as Gadget. Just like annoying, but I feel like not super duper OP. Like, she doesn't have a whole lot of AoE damage, and a lot of the time out of a mage, you really do want that. You want to be able to try and hit backliners at the same time you're hitting frontliners if they're grouped too close, and Mori just doesn't really do that. She plays kind of like an assassin out of the mid lane. If you pair her with something like a Feng Mao or a Kalari, it can be really good. Because if you mark a squishy, Mori ults them, and then it's a free kill for your assassin. I don't think she's insane, but I think she's fine. Like, she's Gadget tier. I think that's fine. Doc. I don't know, man. A lot of people are playing Murdoch right now, and I don't know if it's actually because he's good. I can't really figure it out. Like, he feels to me like an average carry. He feels to me like in Kira tier. I will say carry is the one role that a lot of the characters feel the same to me. Unless something's super broken, a lot of carries just hold left click, right? They kind of all feel the same. Murdoch, I feel like he's annoying, right? He has that cross-map snipe that you always have to be careful about, but I don't know, man. I think he's probably in Kira tier. Muriel. I think Muriel's fine. I don't think she's broken. I think, like, range supports are really good right now, and she's one of the better ones. Like, she's just good at boxing and lane. I think she's fine. Narbash. I'm going to put him in situational because I think if you have a Narbash team comp, if you're playing, like, Sev offlane ramp jungle, then Narbash is going to be a sick fucking support. Narbash is going to go insane in that game, right? But if you're playing, like, Feng Mao offlane and, like, Chimera jungle, Narbash isn't going to be very good. Right, if you build a team comp around Narbash, or again, in ranked, if you happen to have people that pick good characters with Narbash, Narbash goes really well with tanks or bruisers. He's really good with, like, Grux, really good with, like, Terra, right, that kind of thing. I think he's solid in those team comps. Outside of those team comps, I would not pick him every game. FaZe. Almost similar to Narbash, honestly, in my opinion. Like, a slightly weaker ranged support than some of the others. Less boxing potential in lane. A little bit safer in lane. Good counter pick to Richter, of course. Good to just keep your carry alive. Outside of that, she does set up ganks pretty well. But I would say she's situational. Like, if you're playing with, like, a Wraith or something like that, you can maybe get away with phase. But most games, I would say she's not insane. Rampage. I think a solid jungler right now. Like, he's based on everyone else's opinions and what I'm seeing in ranked, like, borderline S tier. I think this character is just a little, I don't know, man. I think a lot of people play him kind of wrong, or don't know how to play with a Rampage. He hasn't really been meta in like 8 months, so I think people kind of forgot how to play with a Rampage on their team. Could be S tier, honestly. I think the character is really strong. I think that a lot of people don't play with it very well. But if you just go like Overlord Elefrost on this hero, you just 100-0 backliners for the entire game, and it's really, really annoying. Because you pop Razorback when you ult and they can't hit you, or they die. Revenant, dog-ass character. I love Revenant maybe more than anybody else. This character fucking sucks. Holy shit, bro. I used to think that Revenant was maybe a sleeper hero, and I will say asterisk, in PCC, in like competitive tournament gameplay, I actually do think Revenant is a sleeper hero. I think not enough people are willing to play Revenant in PCC. In ranked, I think this character is terrible. I just think he's just dog. I played him a lot like 2 weeks ago. I played like, I don't know, I played Rev like 50% of my games like 2 weeks ago. This character sucks, bro. Richter, I think Richter is broken right now in like 3 roles. Broken in 2 roles, good in another one. Richter support, it's okay. Richter support is maybe A tier. If you're hitting hooks, he's really good. If he's not getting hooks, then he's really bad. Richter in the offlane, I think just bullies everything, bro. Even against tanks where you think you just have a free scaling matchup like Sevarog, I still think he bullies them. I still think he's worth it to pick into them. Late game, just a really good hero. The threat of hook is just like, it can't be understated. It really can't. You hit a hook late game and you win the game, right? Now you have a 5v4 for 60 seconds, you win the game. Really good at defending, pretty good at getting picks on offense as well, right? Just a solid hero. In the jungle, also still very good. Slower clear until you get Fire Blossom online, but I think he's still solid. Really, just a really good hero. Sereth. I mean, in ranked, I'd say Sereth's probably A tier. Offlane, kind of hard to play right now. Like, Fist of Riz kind of fucks you up. It's just hard to play into tanks, which is normally what you play Sereth into. You might be able to get away with it into, like, Fang Mao still, because that's just a favorable matchup. In the jungle, not awesome, I would say, but in ranked, I mean, you can just take over games as this character. It's kind of like a Fang Mao in that sense, except it's maybe even a little bit safer than Fang Mao because of how slippery you are. I would say she's like probably pickable most games in ranked. Sevarog, one of the better offlaners right now. Jungle Sevarog, maybe a little bit worse, but still like very viable. But Sevarog as an offlaner right now just doesn't have very many bad matchups. Scales really hard late game, just gets really big, really hard to kill. One of the best frontliners. You can ult people out of position. You can ult people to save your team. Really hard to kill. That's the main thing. Solid hero. Shinbi. I'll put her in the situational tier. I think Shinbi's a little underrated at the moment. I think she's pretty good in the offlane if you don't know how to play offlane. I actually think that's the best time to pick Shinbi, to be completely honest with you. I think if you get, 50-50'd and you end up in the offlane, Shinbi's fine. She's fine. Because you don't have to interact with people. So if you're bad at, like, trading in offlane and interacting with the enemy offlaner, you just don't have to do that on this hero. And it makes it so, like, you might be playing a slightly worse hero, but you're not, like, 0-5. You're not throwing the game by trying to play the meta hero. And I think this character kind of cheats at that, right? She is essentially a ranged offlaner. You just don't have to interact. I think she's solid if you don't know what you're doing. As far as, like, jungle, I really wouldn't play her in the jungle. Mid lane, also probably wouldn't play her there. Off lane, she has a couple of good matchups into, like, Grux, even into Richter. I think she's pretty solid. Solid hero. Steel. Borderline S tier for me. I think this character is back to being really, really fucking good. And when Steel is good, this character is really fucking annoying. I think in order of his roles where I think he's best, I would say offlane, support, jungle. I think he's okay in the jungle. He's playable. He's not awesome, but he's playable. as a support, I actually think he's pretty good against some of the ranged supports right now. I think he's okay against DEKKER, but I think he's pretty good against Muriel. I think he's pretty good against Narbash. He's even okay against ZINX, who we'll get to. As an offlaner, just bullies a lot of people. Passive shields are really good. Fist of Riz is just a cracked fucking item. You just click buttons. Another just like almost similar to Shinbi, except you have to be a little more confident in the offlane to play him. Just click buttons, man. It like literally, I say that a lot, and a lot of the time it's hyperbole. It's not hyperbole on Steel. You actually just click buttons. And the character's pretty good. Faye. I think a little underrated of a mid laner right now. I think if you're confident in your mechanics, I think you can play Faye most games. I will say, you like the things to watch out for on Faye. Drongo will just, you don't get to ult Drongo because his ultimate is CC immune. Same with Steel, same with Xerath. So just keep in mind that those heroes can ult for ult to you. They can trade ultimates with you, and they win that interaction. So just keep that in mind. Also better against tank supports who don't want to build reclamation. So a character like Muriel or ZINX or FaZe, right? They don't mind building reclamation because they're backline supports anyway. Something like a Steel or a Richter who wants to build sanctification and get in there, or Riftwalkers, right? They give up a lot more to build reclamation. So also better in that sense. Maybe I'll put her in situational, just because, again, those are a lot of situational things that I just spouted off about. But I think underrated. TB, I think maybe the best carry in the game right now. Really strong, bro. Like, this character just does so much fucking damage. I don't know. I see a lot of people at top ranks playing TB. Like, the only carries that really are getting played in my game are, like, TB, Drongo, Murdoch. That's really about it. So, I don't know. I don't think he's... Maybe he's borderline S tier. But just a solid hero. Good survivability, really good wave clear. You don't have to interact with your lane opponents if you don't want to. You just clear the wave and walk away. Xerath. I'm going to put him in A+. I could put him in S tier. There's an argument for Xerath being S tier. I'm not sold on him. I do think he's very good. He's still just, again, he is a Mickey Mouse fucking character that makes dog shit players look really good. That is really all there is to it. He trivializes engagements. Because if someone steps into your ultimate range, you click R, and you are CC immune, jumping on top of them, spawning a cage. If they don't have flash, they are dead. Right? I mean, it trivializes the game. And because of that, I think that he's always going to be pretty good. The nerfs to his ultimate, that cooldown rank 1, it really does matter. You get like 2 ults in between. You get to ult on Fangtooth, and then you get 1 ult in between Fangtooth, and then you have to hold it because it won't be up again. So it definitely does matter. I think the character is still really good. Sparrow. Situational, I guess. I mean, does a fuck ton of damage, really unsafe. Really easy to, like, kind of bully early, like pre-level 6. Really easy to bully. Does win all 1v1s in the duo lane as long as you have ultimate. Wins 2v2s as long as you have ultimate against pretty much anyone that's not Steel. Damage has never been the problem on this character. Again, I don't think you can play her right now with the characters that are good. I think she's too easy to dive. Wraith, in the one trick tier. I think the character's really good right now. I don't think most people should play him. Yo, Slippery Slug, thank you for the primer and the follow, dude. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the pin zone. I appreciate it, man. But yeah, really good hero. Realistically, probably like a borderline A+ hero. But he goes in the one trick tier because if you're not good at this hero, you should not play him. Yeah, but good. Iggy. I think Iggy's pretty bad right now. I don't think you should play Iggy most of the time. I think this character is too situational. Like, he would be in the situational tier, but I don't know. I'll put him at the end of B tier. I think he's too hard to play in ranked. And I know that sounds dumb because the character is really fucking easy to play. It's getting your team to understand the fact that you need to set up on objectives before they spawn is really difficult in ranked. A lot of people just don't do that shit. Nobody cares about objectives, right? Everyone just wants to team fight. That's how it is. Doing that in ranked, getting people to set up on objectives, it can be hard. It can be frustrating. If you're playing Iggy and you're not doing that, the hero is okay in team fights. He does do a lot of damage eventually, but if you get dove, and a lot of these characters dive Iggy really easily, like Steel, Ramp, Sev, even Richter, right? Well, Iggy can't play the game against these heroes. Like, yes, he would kill them eventually. He does kill tanks fairly well. He'll kill them at some point, but every single one of those heroes kills him before he kills them, no matter what. So, I think okay hero if your team's playing properly. If you're duo queued with your jungler, maybe it gets a little better. I don't know, just not awesome. Quang, borderline A+ for me. I might put him A+ as an offlaner. I think he's a good hero. I think he's really good at bullying the offlane. He's pretty safe. Wins matchups against a lot of really annoying offlaners. Like one of the few offlaners that does actually beat like Sev, Steel in lane. As a jungler, okay, good gank potential, pretty slow clear, at least early game. But I don't know. I think he's a solid hero in the offlane. Argus, probably the best mid laner in the game. I think this character is really, really good, and then they buffed him, and I think he's even better now. The buff was very minor. It does make him better. I think the character is just really good. Shits out damage, always has lane prio. There's the only character that can out prio Argus is Iggy, and Iggy's not good. Right, so like you always have lane prio on this character. You can rotate as much as you want. You don't lose any minions for rotating in mid lane anyway, but when your clear is this fast, you really don't lose anything. He has hard CC. He has a really good ranged ultimate that makes his gank potential really fucking good. Just a really good fucking hero, bro. Grim. I'm going to just put him in the fucking tier with Murdoch and Kira. I think he's fine. I think late game, he's maybe a little bit stronger than like Kira or Murdoch. But early, I don't know. Like he has good poke in lane. Bubble, he has a giant hitbox. He's slow, right? Like he's got some downsides. Does do a fuck ton of damage. Don't think he's OP. Solid carry if you want to pick him. Aurora, I think she's fine. Character that gets much better the better you are at the game. Like the better your awareness is, the better Aurora is. Wall is a really good ability, but I don't think right now they've nerfed her stats enough to where, like, in the offlane, she doesn't just win every matchup. In the jungle, I think she's fine. I don't think she's broken. I think she's, like, a solid hero. You could pick her every game and be totally fine. I don't think she's OP. Terra. Borderline S tier for me. I'm going to put her in A+. Like, close to moving up. Just a really good hero. Primarily in the offlane. You can play her in the jungle, and I think it's fine. Your gank is pretty good. Your clear is really bad. Especially early game, before you have one item. Terra clear in the jungle is atrocious. But in the offlane, she's good. She bullies Sevarog, which is like the main matchup I would play her into. If you got to choose, of course. But good against a lot of offlaners right now. CC immunity, always nice. Does a lot of damage late game. A very solid hero. ZINX, this character is broken. ZINX is busted, guys. As a support, primarily, you can play her in the mid lane. You can play her as essentially a support from the mid lane. I don't think it's very good, but you can do it. If you have something like a Rampage jungle, I think you can play ZINX mid and just pocket heal that guy. You literally just sit behind your Rampage and you heal. You don't heal anybody else. Only heal your Rampage, and I think she's playable in the mid lane. As a support, this character is really, really annoying. Her ultimate just fucks up hard engages really badly. If your team is able to turn around fights, then she can be really, really potent with her ult. Her heals are just absolutely wildly big. Bouncy stun is really fucking annoying. Just like all around, just a really good hero, bro. But her boxing in lane, oh my god, one of the best lane supports. Like, you thought Muriel was good at boxing in lane, dude? This bitch is good at boxing in lane. So, really good, honestly. Let's see. Do I want to switch anything before I call her good? I don't know. I think this might be fair, right? Wherever C is, C. Like Crunch moving down might be fair. I could see arguments for a lot of stuff as well. Like, there's no carries in S tier. I don't think carry is weak. I think carry is like a competitive role. Like, I think all the carries are closer together than a lot of other roles. Like Twin Blast could be S, Drongo could be S. Like I'd be like that would be fine. Xeris could be S. But I think this is not. I don't think this is too bad. Like these are the main one trick heroes right now. You could put Countess in this tier or Seraph in this tier and it'd be fine for the one tricks. But I think this is fine. Rev in C tier? No, that character is dog ass. That character is not even one trickable. Yeah, I think I'm cool with that. I think I'm going to leave it there. So, tier list complete. Let me know what you guys think. Of course, if this is on YouTube, ask questions in the comments. I'll answer everything. But, yeah. There you go. Tier list, not bad.